Welcome to the Sunday edition of September 10th, 2023 Economic Preparation Channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you for joining me. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel for the latest interpretation of financial news in the United States and abroad. I appreciate your support. Well, now we're on the other side of the third quarter of this financial shuffling that's going on, and the stock market is starting to show signs of weakness, even though the labor market, according to the media, is excelling and is doing well. Inflation and the stock market things are starting to show holes like Swiss cheese. So we're going to be talking about the BRICS push for a new currency, a new world order, a new world of doing things other than the U.S. dollar hegemony that has crippled a lot of the developing nations and the nations that are looking forward to get rid of the dollar, especially with the petrodollar, especially with oil being traded in the petrodollar, U.S. petrodollar. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about inflation. We're going to talk about some in-demand jobs, according to media. That is one article that's paying $100,000 or more, and these companies are hiring right now, according to this report. So we're going to get into that. There's some good news as well. I thank you for your support, ladies and gentlemen. We're here, and we're going to be here as long as it takes to get the word out that, you know, we're not just here to spread doom and gloom, but we're also here to learn and grow together. And I appreciate all of your comments too as well. Very insightful. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is a new report from Reuters.com about a week ago or 2 weeks ago. It said that BRICS welcomes new members in order to reshuffle world order. The bloc adds Saudi Arabia, Iran, Ethiopia, Egypt, Argentina, and UAE. So this expansion of the BRICS nation, these are the Brazil, Russia, India, China, and the Soviet bloc. And Saudi Arabia bloc that are pushing forward to add more countries to this. Now, this is the large, and South Africa, I'm sorry, that's the S, not Soviet, South Africa. So it's Brazil, Russia, India, and South Africa make up the primary members. And these are big economies here of developing nations, if not, going to be superpower nations here soon, along with China, of course. Now, they are working together to expand their dominance and getting rid of the U.S. petrodollar, as well as not just the petrodollar, but also sending the dollars back to the U.S. This membership expansion is historic, quotes as Chinese President Xi Jinping. He says that it shows the determination of BRICS countries for unity and cooperation with the broader developing countries. So in other words, these countries are coming together, and they're going to trade together, this trade alliance. Now, we have other trade alliances that other presidents of the United States have established before, and South Asian alliance and different alliances like that we know of. But this is the largest conglomeration that we know of that is leading allies here. And they're meeting, and they're talking, they're trading together here. As you know, India is the second largest producer of our pharmaceuticals and also some of our electrical components like transformers and things like that. A lot of that comes from India and their nation. So they're working together to trade to help take away some of the U.S. dollar's strength, okay? And this is in addition to the inflation that we have. You have to remember that this area is home to, they call it the 1040 window. If you're looking at the latitude, longitude, 1040 window, it's home to 40% of the world's population and a quarter of the gross domestic product. So this right here is going to be a big event. Look out for more news on the BRICS coming up soon, later on this week, toward Friday and next week, as far as their model. They're working on a currency. They're also working on ways to, like I said, to disenfranchise the U.S. petrodollar, and it's going to take time, but it's definitely speeding up. Now, Yahoo Finance an interesting report about iPhones. As you know, the new iPhone 15 came out. There's some, it's going to be coming out, but there's some production issues with that, supply issues, and inflation continues to hamper this. And also, we look out for strikes. As you know, not just the United Auto Workers were considering strikes, right? There's also a looming strike with American Airlines. As you know, there's always an airline or auto strike going on in some part of the world, or the UK or US or otherwise. And then also, we have to understand that these are going to help to bring the stock market down to a more realistic level. You can see a 2% drop in the stock market heading into the fourth quarter, the last quarter of this year. Okay, inflation rose 3.6% over the prior year in August. That's an increase from 3.2% seen in July. Prices also rise. This is nothing new. We've seen this in the groceries and the food and the gas for the last 8, 9, 10, 11 months. We've seen that as Americans all across this country. But we've also seen not just an increase in that, but an increase in the production cost. Okay, when you have an inflation, you also have an increase in the production cost in terms of hiring workers, getting supplies and goods and services that you need, moving them around the different various parts of the country and the world. That creates a price fluctuation. That means that the wages that they pay you is lower, even though it seems higher. You get your cost of living increase on and retirees get that too, but it's lower because it's not outpacing inflation. Inflation is at 5%. Cost of living increase is only at 2%. You're at a negative 3% deficit here. So granted that, we have to look at 10 in-demand jobs paying $100,000 or more, according to CNBC's Make It report, and they're hiring now. Now, $100,000 is not what it used to be, as you know, 10 or 15 years ago. $100,000 now in some of these big cities and even some of these mid-sized cities is not going as far as, we would like it to go. But anyway, this is some good news here. Of course, they're going to start out with computer jobs. As you know, AI, the push for technocratic economy by the top 1% is growing. So if you're a software engineer, senior software engineer, project manager, and sometimes you can get certificates in these if you have a bachelor's degree or a master's plus certificates in these, in DBA, if you're a DBA, a database administrator, those are in demand. Clinical psychologists, obviously mental health is big. You see that all the time in the news. Mental health is a huge component. I don't know if they make 100K or more. Maybe they do. Licensed clinical social work is big too. A lot of females getting to that. And there's different settings. You could be a hospital clinical social worker. You can be a prison. You can do school. You can do, different things. Dentist, surprisingly, was on the list. Now, coincidentally, dentist also has been listed as one of the professions that had the highest suicide rate. So I don't know. I have to research that more. But dentist came in at number 7. Program managers, kind of like a generalist. PCP, primary care physician. Excellent career with excellent hours, not as much as surgeon hours. You would have a balance there. I don't know how much the insurance and the headaches dealing with paperwork may be, but they do pay over 100K. Adult psychiatrists, obviously. So now the article points out it's important to note that all these roles don't guarantee a 6-figure salary. The base pay for social workers is around $61,000. That's according to Indeed reports. That's going to vary based on location. Obviously, a California person will get paid more than somebody in Kansas. But, this is based on their report. I'm just taking their numbers here. So there is hope. There is hope that if you have in-demand skills here. I want to also point out too that a lot of people overlook they tend to overlook they say the liberal arts skills or whatever the case may be. But those careers are stable during a depression and in a recession, such as teacher. We don't want to forget our teachers or those trade careers. You can make over 100K in trade careers. I mean, in good trade careers, not just the sanitation workers they've been talking about, or the plumbers, the electricians, the roofers. You can make good money in doing trades, like welding or other trades using your hands, or carpentry. If you don't want to use your hands, then there's other trades that are available to you that you can make just as much as somebody with a master's or PhD, and have less debt coming out. Even though the President Biden, signed the Save Student Loan Payments, that's beginning next month. As you know, student loan repayments are beginning next month. You can save on student debt. Now, in-state colleges, people always have this misconception that in-state colleges are cheaper. Yes, they are, but you still rack up some debt. They're not as cheap as they used to be. And out-of-state, obviously, you rack up, debt because you have to have housing. Housing takes up majority, room and board, and the food costs and stuff like that, and the student life costs take up majority of your money, in addition to tuition, your student loan money. So either way, just look into those careers too as well. The good news is in America and in the Western world, the UK, Canada, etc., Europe, you can still find jobs that pay decent salaries, and you can save on it. Whereas other countries, you may not get that benefit of having to be able to switch as readily available. We have the training here. We're starting to bring the training here, and that's great news. So enjoy your weekend. Get out. Enjoy, the sunshine, the heat. This is the last few weeks of summer here, at least in the northern hemisphere. And so, get out and enjoy, and think about ways that you can mitigate inflation in your own personal budgets. Okay, whether it be cutting back on, a Starbucks latte, or maybe getting rid of a Netflix membership and just streaming stuff, or whether it's just maybe going out to eat once a week, or instead of 3-4 times a week, during your regular lunch times at work, or etc. Think about ways, because that's going to help to save us all later on when we get to the real inflation, hyperinflation, which is the ultimate goal of this whole thing, is to hyperinflate the US dollar later on down the road. So continue to think about those ways. Be blessed. God bless. We're here. We're praying for us. We know that the ultimate goal, this is the ultimately a spiritual battle, not just a financial or mental or social battle with this. And as long as we keep a clear conscience and we keep prayed up and we keep stayed up, we're going to be okay with our family and our friends and our neighbors. Everybody works together in all of our communities. And this is what we love to see, because this is what is going to help us when the times really get challenging for Americans later on next year and the year after that. So thank you very much for joining me. I'll talk to you very soon. God bless.